Hi everyone, it's Nicole and I'm here to do a layout. And today the layout I'm going to do is my goals for 2020. Now I have some bookish goals, so I took a picture. This is actually my January TBR, and a picture that is pretty recent. It's of me and Mason. We were doing some homework together. So what I'll do is I'll do my life goals, my bookish goals. And that's why I took two different pictures. I have some scraps of cardstock in here. I went into my stash. This is a page kit that I put together in December. And I had said to put a teal cardstock, but I decided to go with that. It's like a light shade. Oh, love it. I only had like a couple of sheets of this stuff left. I was going to say I'm running out of cardstock. I'm definitely not running out of cardstock. But what I'm running out of is specific colors that I really, really love. Like that dark teal, I'm almost out. And that color right there. So I hate buying more. But I have nothing even close to like blues that pull on green instead of blue. And that's what my ATG almost went on the floor. And that's what I am lacking of, is that color. So I'm ordering from Stampin' Up! Again every month. So I might order like the family of cardstock that holds those in. So I'll only get like a couple. Unfortunately, Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell the cardstock all of one color, because that's what I would do. I would just get these two colors, but they don't do that anymore. So I'll have to get a family of colors. Okay, so I have my two pictures matted. What I plan on doing, what I did was downstairs, I kind of went and wrote out my goals. This is my bookish goals. This is my life goals. I didn't even put how many scrapbook pages I wanted to do in there. I can make sure to put that in. Because basically for scrapbooking, that's about it. You know, I put that I want to do 5 classes in 2020. I want to do on YouTube, I want to do 110 scrapbook process videos and organize my scrap room. That's one of them, I guess. And so those are sort of my scrappy goals. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut it so it fits underneath the photo. So I think all I have to do is cut those two things off. Yeah, it fits now. Even if I have to cut a little bit more, that's okay. I'll do the same thing with this one, and I think that'll be good. Okay, now for this, I have a ton of scraps, which I love. I love scrapping with scraps. I didn't even take the time. Usually the first thing I do is I take all the embellishments that are with the page kit and I move them over to the side so they're not in the way. I have to say I did go grab my flares, and I did grab 3 of them because I'm finding I'm not using my flares enough. So I'm going to try and use up some stuff that I don't find I use enough this year too. Okay. So let's see what kind of scraps we have here. We'll put them in order of size. And that is one of my preferred ways. So I might not even use that because I find I have enough scraps. So if anything, I want to make sure that these scraps get used up. Now I know I want to do, yeah, two pictures like that. And then those will go underneath. I might have to make them a little smaller. And I think I'm going to make a little hinge so that I can lift them this way. Okay, so let's make the little hinge first of all. So I'm going to need some cardstock. And those are about 4 by 4, so let's make it 3 3/4. And then I'll make them about 1/2 inch. I'm just guessing here. 1/2 inch. Are they smaller? No, they're not smaller. So we'll go 3 1/2. And we'll go about 1/2 inch. And it's not small enough, so we'll cut that down. Okay. Now today is Friday, January 10th, I believe. And we're supposed to get a major storm this weekend. Now I was supposed to work on Sunday. And if you know anything about me, you know that I hate working when there's a storm because I work for 911, and when there's a storm, like they say, you know what hits the fan. And at the end of the day, you're just so exhausted because it's just one thing after another. So I was extremely excited when I saw that, not that we're having a storm, but that I have the day off because I asked for it. Because Mason has a tournament. It's not because it was a storm, because there's no way I'd be able to tell that there was a storm, because you have to ask for the day off like weeks ahead. But Mason has a tournament. I doubt if the tournament is going to be canceled because it's a pretty big tournament. It's called a Timbits tournament, and it's a free tournament for the kids to go to, and they get to, we had to pay for the tickets to go see the Wildcats too, which is our junior team here. But they get to go see the Wildcats too, and they get to, in between the periods, they do what they call the Parade of Champions. So it's a big thing for the kids. They absolutely love it. So I'm taking some double-sided tape here, and I'm putting it on both sides of my hinge. And I just had the red tape really close, so I'm just going to use this instead of the one I usually use, which is the score tape, this stuff, but it doesn't matter which one. Both of them work the same. I just have way more score tape than I do red tape, because the score tape you can rip with your hands, so you don't need scissors. Really, that's the only difference. But red tape was close, so we'll use that. I probably won't buy any more red tape, just because I do like the fact that I can just rip the tape with my hands. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about some of my goals while I'm doing this. So my bookish goals, I'll start with that. My bookish goals this year, I want to read 100 books again. Maybe I should have put 101, because last year I did 100 and I achieved it. And maybe I should have put one more book than what I had last year. But I didn't. I just put 100, and I'm okay with that. 100 was quite a bit. And I want to start 24 series, which last year I had put start 20. I ended up starting 23. So that one I did up it by 1. And I want to finish 16 series, which last year I had said 15. So I did up it by 1. I want to read 15 new releases. So basically 15 that are released in 2020. The only thing that I guess is an exception is if a book was released in December, like the month before, I'm going to count those because by the time I get them, there's no way I'm able to read them in the month of December. So the fact that I read it in the first month, like in January, then I will count them. I want to read 12 ebooks, so use my e-reader. I want to read from 15 new authors, and I want to read of an average of 100 pages a day, which, if you saw sort of like what I ended up reading in 2019, I read 37,500 pages, which ends up like 100 pages times 300, and I guess this year's going to be 366. I didn't count that. I didn't take that into account. So we'll say 36,600, which is really close to, so if I, want to achieve my goal of, 100 books, I have to read 100 pages a day. So it kind of goes hand in hand. But it kind of gives me something to kind of work through, like work with. Okay, I got to read 100 pages a day. So when I do my monthly thing, I'll show you. This is not like how I'm going to keep track of the books. This is not the book I'm going to do it in. I'm going to do my planner really soon. But this is like I put January TBR. I'm always going to put 10 books on my TBR, whether I read 10 or not. For 100 books, I have to read 1 book every 3.5 days. And then I'm going to pick 10 books every month. And then I kind of divide, I put down every day of the month. And then I put the days that I work, my part-time job. And then I like to read at least 2 books at a time. This year I had 3. But I made sure that I at least read 50 of those 2 main ones, and then whatever, if I had time left over to read that book, I did, which was the Bromance Book Club, which I loved. And then another way, or another thing I want to do is my TBR every month. I want to separate that so it's very, I have a plan. So I want to start at least 2 to 3 series. I want to continue in 2 or 3 series. I want to read 1 book that is YA contemporary. I want to read 1 book that is adult contemporary. I want to read 1 thriller a month. I want to read 1 or 2 books that are at least over 500 pages. I want to read 1 book that's ebook, 1 audiobook a month, and 1 that I called mood read. So whatever kind of tickles my fancy, I look at my stuff and I go, oh, I want to read that, and start reading that book. So it might be a little bit more than 10, but I'm going to have 10 for sure on my TBR list. For example, my book that I want to read this month for January which wasn't even, it's not even on this here at all. It's called The Girl He Used to Know. And I started it yesterday. I should put it in there. But so that one, after I make sure that I read the book that I'm supposed to, like I finished Trader of the Throne today, which I was supposed to finish tomorrow, but I haven't started Ever the Hunted. So my goal today is to read those at least 100 pages in Ever the Hunted, and then go on from there. So it's not always exactly like that, but at least it kind of gives me kind of something to aim for. What I find is the closer I get to the end of the book, the more I want to read it, right? Like the more you're invested, the more you want to read it. So I might say, oh, I'm not going to start this new book, because I find starting a new book, it's like, ugh. It's like starting a new TV series. I'm just, ugh. I don't like it. Once I'm invested, then it's so much easier. So I want to use some of this. Now, some of my life goals. I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to go on the treadmill at least 4 times a week, which I'm going to start next week. I want to start wearing my Fitbit again, and I want to start at 8,000 steps, and I want to make it up to 10,000. And once I get to 10,000 steps a day, then I want to increase it. Like I said, I want to start or teach 5 classes this year, or publish 5 classes. I want to organize. I want to start 2 new businesses, which that's going to be coming up really shortly. And then I have some personal loans, like with financial loans. So I got those in there too. So quite a bit of stuff. And that's okay. Oh, and one thing I forgot to put is like travel more. So I want to plan, you know, more camping trips and that kind of stuff. And book a trip for next year. Like by the time when we come back from our trip, I want to book a trip for next year right away. Not pay for it, but you know, you can book it and then kind of pay for it a little bit at a time. And that way it's paid by the time you go on your trip. But if you don't plan for it, it's not going to happen. You kind of have to make things happen, I guess. Okay. I kind of like this. That's quite a bit of layers. So I think what I'm going to do, I got to start gluing some stuff down here because there is quite a bit of layers. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to put, I didn't plan that very well. Oh, too late. I'm just going to cut a little bit off of this so that it's equal. There we go. Easy fix instead of ripping my paper. Okay, so now, this is the part I don't like with all these little pieces of paper. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit of glue at first and try to, of course, because it's like little strips of paper, it's a little harder to make it equal, but we're going to try. I'm not putting a lot of adhesive. If I want to add more after, I certainly can. But for now, I'm not putting a lot for a couple of reasons. That way, if I notice that I'm crooked, I can fix it easily. Okay. Oh, I kind of like this side of the paper too. It's pretty. A lot of this was like scraps. So they were just sitting, you know, in my stash, not being used up. So at least this way, oh, come on, paper. It's going to get into an album. I love lined paper, but I love the other side a little bit more, and there's still some left, so it's all good. Okay, let's try to put that down like this. Now let's put this down, and that's when I'll start noticing when things are crooked. And that's okay. At this point, I can fix it. Okay. Okay, much better. Maybe. Okay. I think the paper's cut crooked. Maybe it's just my eyes. No, the paper's cut crooked. So let's fix that. And then we'll put that in there. Okay, I was super cold a few minutes ago, and now I'm burning up. And you'll be able to tell with my nails, because when I'm cold, they're dark, dark brown, and now they're like almost transparent. Okay, now let's put this down. Okay, so this is fun. So I got my what I read in 2019. I got that page done. Now I'm getting my goals for 2020 done. And then the next one is my my little word, which I'm going to do in a couple of days. So what I'm going to do is I like this. And that's going to be sort of like the little tab to open the little page. I'm going to take my stapler. I'm going to staple that down. Right like that. And I'm going to do this. And here I can put life, and here I can put books or bookish, or, oh, I kind of had that. Oh, maybe I can put something else there. Because I think those are too big to go there. Yeah. Okay, so I can think of something else. I can write it though. I can write something, whatever I want to put here. I find that's a little too, there we go. There we go. So now, wherever these have gone, I can glue those right under there. Right like that. I've been saying that for years, but I think this year I'm going to try and do it. I'm going to go get those frames at Michael's. Okay, what's going on? Those frames at Michael's that you can put layouts in. And I'm going to put a couple layouts on my walls. And then that way I can have my goals and my words right where I see them every day. Because you know what? I had to go and check what my word was for last year. I was pretty sure I remembered what it was, but it was like, are you sure? So I had to go check, and I'm like, oh my Lanta. Like, I need to have it in my face all the time. So I'm going to go get one of those frames maybe this weekend. Tomorrow we got to go get some groceries, so maybe I can convince hubby. And if we both go in, then we both get to use 40% or 50% off coupon. And I'll get 2 of those frames, and I'll use them up. Goals 2020. I'm going to have to glue those down because they never stay. So I think here is where I'm going to put books. I think maybe I could put, like maybe a little flag, maybe with one of those. How about if I make a little, I know this is not big enough, but we can piece together. Let's see, I never measure anything, and that's usually a problem. I can usually fix it pretty quickly, but if I measured, then I just feel like I don't have time to measure. Okay, let's try to do something like this. Like do a little border there, and then make a little square with those. Yeah, let's do that. I think I like that. A little square, a little banner or something. And then put the title on it of books and life right underneath. Like I said, I can figure something else out to put there. It's not a big deal. I'll cut that off. Now this, I want to make it so that it's yay big. So I'm going to glue this down, and then, okay, I do books and then life. Okay, so what have I been up to? I ended up working one day up to now in January. I took an extra shift because they offered a shift in the transfer room. Somebody wanted a day off. So I put my name down for it and I got it. So I worked on January 2nd, which was good. It was busy, but it was good. Books. Let's see, do I want to make it bigger? Maybe I do. Like so that it's a little bit wider than this, maybe. So I said I didn't want to measure, but I'm going to have to. So this is so if I make it 3/4 of an inch, oh, it's so hard to do on this trimmer. I usually don't use this for anything else but photos, but at this point, I'm just gonna do it. So 3/4, and then I'll test it right away. I thought I broke my trimmer the other day because I couldn't get it to go down. It took me a long time. Might as well cut 2. 3/4. So yes, I worked on January 2nd, and basically our life has been about hockey. Mason had a tournament on December 27th. That weekend, he played 7 games. And then he had a tournament January 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And then he has a tournament this weekend. So it's like, and then the next tournament is in February after that. So we're going to get a little bit of break. I mean, he has hockey games, but it's not going to be a tournament. And then in the spring, he was invited to be on a AAA team. Yes, AAA for his age. And so there's going to be, what my husband told me this morning, it's going to be like 11 games or something. Quite a bit. 11 or 12 games. And it's going to be like, we're going to have to travel. But that's okay. It's all good. Hopefully we get to know the weekends right away, because I definitely want to go. So I'm going to have to switch my shifts. Yeah, that's good. I don't know if I want it closer. Okay, let me do life here. I'm just going to kind of think about it, because maybe I can put it closer but leave more green around it or something. I'm going to try it with the life one here. Yeah, I kind of like that. I think I'm going to do the same thing with books. So we'll scoot everything towards the K and the O. And it's like the 3rd time I've moved those letters, so hopefully I'm still able to move them okay. That's good. Okay, so let's put this down. Okay, in life. Okay, now all I have to do is the embellishment clusters. Okay, I thought someone was coming in. Like, nope. Okay. I always try to sneak a layout when they leave the house. Like, oh, a quiet house. Let's sneak a layout. Okay, so that's what I'm focusing on right now. Even this thinking of you, I can use this because I have to be thinking of my goals all year. It's not something that's just for like January. I need to, you know, do this all year. I exceeded in some goals last year and I failed in others. And that's just the way it is, but it doesn't mean that you quit, right? You just got to keep trying. Just got to keep trying. We probably would have done really well on the losing weight if my husband didn't hurt his foot in July, because we had started walking in May. I didn't gain any weight, so I guess that's a plus. But I want to lose 10 pounds even before we go on the cruise, because I know this girl is going to gain some weight on the cruise, because I am not going somewhere where you have not free, I mean, you paid for it, but unlimited food and desserts and all this good stuff. And I'm not going to have any. Nope. So I'd rather work before and lose the weight than after. I'd rather do it beforehand. So starting next week, the treadmill is going to be part of my life again. That wonderful treadmill. No, I'm happy I have a treadmill. We also have an elliptical machine. Whew. That thing is something else. I don't know. People that can do the elliptical for a long time, you have my respect, because I am on there for like 5 minutes and I'm like, and I don't think I'm in like, I'm not in great shape, but I don't think I'm in bad shape either. You know, like we do stuff like climb mountains and walk 47 kilometers, but for some reason that elliptical, whew, that is more than my body can do right now. But it is something that I want to work on, so I am going to, trying to see if I can put 2 of those, but don't know. I don't think I will. So this, I'm going to put some 3D foam. And I have these big rolls of foam, 3M foam, that a wonderful subscriber sent to me. She sent me a message not that long ago. She goes, is that the foam that I gave to you that time? And I'm like, yeah. It lasts a long time. And I mean, I find that I use foam quite a bit. You know, like I'm on my second roll. I finished the first one. She sent me 2 rolls. It was maybe a little bigger than this, but not much bigger. I think this is pretty much the size, maybe a little bigger. And, but it lasts a long time. It's awesome. Okay. I still don't know what I'm going to put there, but because I don't know, we're going to keep moving. We're going to just move it along here, find what else I can put. So I have a cluster here, which is not very big. I got to find some stuff some extra stuff to kind of tuck in there. But it doesn't look like I had a lot of embellishments in this paper kit, which is okay. I am not too worried. I have these hearts. I'm going to put the bigger one at the bottom. I can even count this right here as a cluster, you know? And then right here. And sometimes like I'll bring a cluster and I'll put it at the top here, but sometimes I keep it within the layout. And I think I will this time. I kind of like how this is going. So I use the 3 hearts. And this is good, but not the best. I don't know. I don't know if I want to put that on here or not. I can take this and spread it between the 2 of these clusters because I can make it match with that because that kind of has a little grid. Now I have to say, I was so proud of myself because the first layout that I did, now where did that go? Always happens. Oh, see, it was stuck to something. It always happens to me. I always lose stuff. Yesterday it was an A, and when I was watching the video again, it flew that way, but I still don't see it. Like, I don't know where it went. It flew out here, but it's not there, so I don't know where it went. My scrap room is eating my supplies. So, I don't know, because I thought, I gotta look and see if I can see on that video where that A went. And it definitely went that way, unless it flew like really far that I can't see right now. I'll have to look, but just quickly looking, it's not there. I think I'm just going to use 2 of those. I'm okay with that. I got to glue these down, so I got to get some glue. I probably should get some enamel dots. I always like to finish with enamel dots. I am running low on enamel dots. Like, my goals have been to use what I have, and I've been keeping true to that. Like, I am using stuff that I have, and I'm starting to run low, but it's all good. And again, it's specific colors that I'm running low, but that's okay. And usually that's always the case. I always have these big enamel dots left. So from now on, that's, you know, if that's all I have, that's what I'm going to use. I'm just going to use those big enamel dots until they're all gone. I'm going to put one there. I don't know what I'm going to put here. Now I only have 2 left. I'm going to cut that plastic so it's smaller. And I'm going to put these back. So that's fine, just like that. I got to glue this down. And I think I haven't done this. Well, I haven't scrapbooked in a while too. I was going to say I haven't done this in a while to put some mist, but I think I want to put some mist. And then I'll stop the video and I'll glue these down. So I'll go get the mist. And while I do that, what I started saying was, when I finished the last layout last time, right away, I went downstairs because I had to write down the whole list of the 100 books that I read. I went downstairs right away, went and found my notebook that I kept a list of all the books that I read. And I wrote it down on my page right away. So that's done. So I can actually take that page and put it in an album of 2019. And then this one too, as soon as I stop the video, because I'm not going to journal on a real-time video. It would just be like forever. But I'm going to go and I'm going to, because I've already wrote them down, and that's why I did it before I started the video. I wrote down my goals because I figured if I did it after, I wouldn't get them done. But if I did it before, if I said, nope, you can't go start that video until you figure out what your goals are. That way I got it done. And I was just thinking that there was a couple more that I said, oh, I didn't write that down. So when I listen to the video again, I'll be able to write it down because I said it on this. Okay. Well, that was pretty quick, I think. And I'm liking it. I like the colors. I like that my goals 2020 I put on the side here, and it's nice and big. And then, you know, it's a little flip up thing. So my goals are still kind of private to me. And I'm going to be able to put them on the wall. And if I need to go see my goals, I mean, it's in my scrapbook, but it's also on here. So I'll be able to check what my goals are throughout the year. And I think that's something I didn't do last year too, is I didn't write them down somewhere else. So I couldn't easily go find my goals. So I have these, and I think because I have that, I'd like to put a little thing on each, just so it brings that throughout my embellishment clusters. Okay, so that's it. That's going to complete this layout. And I'm going to stop now. I'm going to do my journaling right away. And I'm going to stick it. I got to see if I have an album that's empty. And I'm going to dedicate it for 2020. And I'm going to put it in that album for now until I get one of those frames. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit subscribe. If you're enjoying these videos, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up and leave me a comment down below. And I want to thank you so much for watching. Bye.